welcome to our channel. This is my friend, Izzy.
I am a beginner at Japanese, so I'm with all of you. We will do this together, learn Japanese.
We thought that it'll be perfect by me teaching her and sharing the videos to you guys. That way we can learn together. So before I start teaching, I want to know what your background is with the Japanese. What do you want to do with Japanese? Those stuff, right? I'm gonna start writing your information to figure out what you want to do. So I guess, do you have any background with Japanese?
I don't have like a very large background. I'm definitely a beginner. I would say I really want to learn Japanese because I definitely want to travel there. That's a huge goal. And I'm very interested in the communication. So I graduated with communications as a degree. So I just am opening up my channels of communication to not just English.
Why Japanese? What made you be interested in Japanese?
I think I'm super interested in the different particles. It's definitely more difficult, and I'm just very interested in how all of that works.
Do you want to be able to read and write as well?
Yeah, that's one of the most interesting parts to me, I would say, is how it all changes and how it can all go together as well. That's super interesting to me. It's a whole new world.
Have you studied Japanese before?
I've only done like the Duolingo or like random reading of stuff online. I've never been to like an in-person class or anything like that.
So you know some phrases?
Yeah, I believe like kudasai is please, and I'm having a hard time remembering.
From what I've heard, you basically want to cover everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's do it.
Gotcha. Listen, speak, write, read. Yeah, let's start from those basics. I'm gonna start with how to say A equals B. A equals B in English is basically A is B. Well, in English we can have A, M, or R based on the subject, what the subject is. We're gonna be able to say this in Japanese. What I'm gonna do is many Japanese textbooks, they will teach you from polite speech. Just to quickly explain.
That's des, right? Desu?
Right.
Yeah.
Desu will make it polite. Yeah. So let's say this is you, and for someone who you consider equal to you, like family members, friends, those people, we speak in casual speech. And most of the manga or anime, they speak in casual speech. And then to someone who's older than you, or to someone who has higher social status than you, like your boss or that kind of people, we speak in polite speech. They might talk to you back in casual speech because they don't need to necessarily respect you. But for you, you have to kind of, with your situation, respect, so you talk back in polite speech. And most Japanese textbooks, they teach you starting with polite speech because, the intention of the textbook is, so that you won't be rude. You won't come across rude to other people. But in my personal opinion, starting with polite speech is not a good idea. Why? Because casual speech is basically dictionary form. Meaning, casual speech is the foundation, it is the foundation. From the casual speech comes polite speech on the surface level. Going back to A equals B. It's A wa B.
A wa B.
A wa B means A is B. So for example, if you want to say, I am Izzy. I in Japanese. Do you know I in Japanese?
Watashi.
Good, good. Watashi. Watashi.
No.
What? Easy.
You know.
Okay. Watashi wa Izzy. This is fine.
Watashi wa Izzy. Yes.
When it comes to wa, you might wonder what this wa is. We call it particle. Particles are similar to, in English, like at, to, of, with, all of these.
Like the, would that be one?
They're
Is that
a little
different?
bit different.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll cover this soon though.
Okay.
Yeah.
At,
So- Yeah, those stuff, right? These words or articles, they connect with other English words to define the relationship with that word with other words. It's fine to just consider particle as these stuff. Wa is one of the main particles. Of course, you can maybe already guess, but by putting wa, the word that you're connecting with, you're saying that, hey, A is the subject. That's why we translate this wa as A is, because A is the subject. Wa, in that sense, is really important because you get to decide what noun will be the subject of the sentence.
like cat wa playing or something like
Yep.
that. So the cat's playing because the cat's the noun.
Yep.
Okay.
And cats are the subjects of the sentence, so that's why you pick
Oh
wa.
yeah. Yeah.
Since we just covered A equals B, we're gonna also cover A is not B. Still have wa here, but then ending we add ja nai. So for example, if you want to say I am not a cat, watashi wa. Do you know cat in Japanese? Neko.
Neko.
Watashi wa neko janai. This means I'm not a cat.
So does this mean like no, or it means like not, just like no in general?
No in general for a noun.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's like contradicting. It's like saying this is not true.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we're gonna move on to asking question. Is A equal B? If you want to make this a question, how would you say in English?
Is A B?
Right. How it works is in English we changed the word order. We switched is and A, and then question mark at the end. Takeshi kissed the cat, right? If we switch the word order here and say a cat kissed Takeshi, then the meaning will be totally different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
English word order is really important. Japanese, not so much, not that important compared to how it is in English. The reason why is because that particle that we just talked about, as long as the wa stays with the correct noun, we can actually shuffle word order. For example, let me just write random sentence. I played, let's do Fortnite. I play Fortnite at my house with my friends at 3 p.m. for example. In Japanese, we can shuffle the word order. I mean, there is some rules where main verb has to be at the end of a sentence. This one we can't usually change.
Is that a rule for like all speaking? Like the verb always has to be at the end?
Usually.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's something that is good to remember. Main verb has to be at the end. And that's why it gets really confusing for English learners.
I was just thinking, I was like, how would you know what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's the verb.
Right, we have to wait until the end of the sentence to really figure out what the action is. But for example, like my friend, fortnight, at my house, 3 p.m. These are nouns. In Japanese, we can basically shuffle these nouns.
And that would be like a full sentence. It wouldn't sound fragmented in Japanese, you know, the same way. Yeah.
As long as we put the correct particle for each noun. In English, by changing the word order, we can make it into a question. Then in Japanese, when word order doesn't matter, how can we make a sentence into a question? Pretty simple. Whatever sentence you want to make into a question, just add ka at the end. Well,
Ka, and that is that like a question mark?
Basically,
Does that act like a question mark? Okay.
Basically. So you don't need to change word order. Just say whatever sentence as if that's the statement and then add ka at the end. But just to let you know, this is for polite speech. Polite speech, we add ka to make it into a question. But like I said at the beginning, we're going to focus on first learning the casual speech. How do we ask questions in casual speech? We don't need ka. We just raise the intonation at the end of a sentence.
And so if you wanted to be polite or be like for sure that they know that it's a question, you could add ka.
Right.
Okay.
So statement versus question. It's pretty simple. The statement, I am a cat, watashi wa neko. Question, am I a cat, will be watashi wa neko. And that's it. And that will be a question.
Watashi wa neko?
And that will be a question.
Yeah.
You can also make that negative that we just learned earlier into a question too. For example, watashi wa neko janai, I am not a cat. Changing this into a question will, for example, in English will be, aren't I a cat? Will be the question version in English, right?
But it's saying like, I am cat not. I am cat not in
That's
English? Okay.
Literal translation.
But it just means I am not a cat.
Let's move on to writing. When it comes to writing any character, kanji, hiragana, and katakana, the rules of how to write in general comes from how to use brushes. So with brush, of course, like this, like this kind of trailing off, like stop, this, different ways of ending, right? This is the rules that we need to know when it comes to writing any character in Japanese.
Okay.
So let's cover these rules. First one is just stop. So, for example, you write a horizontal line, just stop at the end. Oops, let me just correct this off, but stop at the end. When we stop, like just imagine you using brush and then with the brush you stop. It gets a little bit thicker at the end.
Yeah.
Right? So that's stop. The second one is trail. Like I showed you here. Just trail off. So it gets thinner and thinner at the end. Like that.
It's the small details. Yeah.
Next one, 2.5. It's because it's basically extension from the number 2 trail. Some textbooks don't even teach this, but I do think it's important. Strong trail. Do you see this?
The little bend, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Still the same direction, but yeah, you do see the small difference here. And because you pause and then release, it gets a little bit thicker here, right? This one would look better, more beautiful, sophisticated than just simple trail. Number 3. cook. So you see here, this ending. So I paused here and then released, but totally in a different direction. So it's, in that sense, it's a little bit similar to the strong trail in that you pause and release, but the direction where you release is totally different direction.
And this actually looks like a hook, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Number 4, which is just release, which is really similar to trail. And that's why like some textbooks don't even teach you this because it is similar. But I'm gonna teach anyways. Trail is like literally just trail off, right? So you have like kind of long period of gradually trailing off. But some characters, for example, kanji for 1,000 is trail, stop, and then release. I did trail off like really slightly, tiny bit. It's not like this.
And it's not a stop.
Right. So just tiny bit, like release. By you knowing these rules, you'll be able to read, for example, like eventually, like cursive style writing, you'll be able to read them if you know these, rules. Yeah. So
that's super cool.
Yeah. So in that sense, it is really important to know how to write correctly. Okay, so next class, we're gonna dive into learning hiragana using these rules.
Yay!
So that was the first class. What did you think?
I'm ready to learn. I am excited to be able to start speaking more.
So that's it for today. We're gonna meet next week and continue. Thank you for watching.
Thank you!
See you.